Welcome to Contemporary Black Voices, where we take on the most pressing issues affecting Black America. I am your host, Dr. Sharon Michael Chadwell, and my co hosts today are New York Times bestseller and international news enthusiast Caleb Alexander and community activist Chris Dawkins. This week has been another heavy week in the news in Texas, the nation, across the diaspora, and the globe. Our main topic today is what Blacks can do post election. But before we get started, we ask that you hit that like button and also the subscribe to get alerts. So let's do this. So this has been a very interesting week in the United States. Uh, Donald Trump was elected the 47th president of the United States. But there's been a lot of stuff said on social media, the news, uh, within the community as well. And one of the questions that came out was, what can Blacks do post-election? And so we want to go into that discussion piece. Should we blame? Should there be blame? And then finally, the main question, what can Blacks do post-election? So Caleb and Chris, y'all ready to get into this?
Hey.
We ain't gonna argue. I think we agree on 99%.
All right, I want to hear this. So go ahead, Caleb.
So Chris, let's see. Chris picked me to go first. He wanted me to go first. But no, I don't think as far as Black folks go, there's nobody to blame. So we Black women were at 92% for Harris. Black men stepped up despite all of the rhetoric and all of the conspiracy theories that Black men weren't going to vote for. Black men voted for 80%. You know what I mean?
And that's been consistent over the last 3 presidential election cycles.
It has been. Mm-hmm. You're always going to have, that 20% that do identify as Republicans. For some reason, Black men think that if they have a business, they have to vote Republican. They've been in the military, they have to vote Republican. They got a Becky on their arm, they got to vote Republican. So you always gonna have that 20. Even Harriet couldn't convince that other 20% to roll for freedom. So you always gonna have that 20%. But I think there's no blame game. Black men stepped up, they did what they're supposed to do. Black women did what they're supposed to do. They supported Harris. So as far as our community goes, we good.
Now on Facebook, sisters are really giving the Beckys, the Karens, a run for their money. Because 69% of the white women voted for Trump.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't blame the sisters. They got on that rah-rah train with them on the abortion and women's health issues. A lot of white women organized white women for Trump.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, white women for Harris phone banks. So they gave these sisters the illusion of support.
Right.
And as we got to thinking about it, because even I was confused, I said, what happened here? Right? And so I think you're the one, Caleb, that said we think what happened was a lot of the red states had anti-abortion rules or updates on the ballot.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them white women went ahead and voted yes on that, since that was their angst.
Mm-hmm.
But they voted for Trump.
Right.
And to me, that makes sense. So
they split the ticket.
They split the ticket.
Split the vote, yeah. So they've proven again, time and time again, that there is no intersectionality when it comes to white women and Black women. From the very beginning, they told Black women they didn't want them involved in the women's suffrage movement. You know what I'm saying? If y'all gonna march, y'all march in the back. Y'all march after we done. So from the very beginning, they set that, they laid that down from the very beginning, that their issues are not the same. Black women's issues are not the same. Yeah, they went all the news shows. You know what I'm saying? People were blaming us for Trump. We got to make this right. We got to rah, white women for Harris, blah, 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 blah. And then they walked into that voting booth and they voted with their husbands and their sons and their grandfathers. And really, to be honest with you, they voted for their daughters because white women are in this country protected and shielded and cared for and they do well under white male patriarchy. That's their protection. Black women go to college to get ahead. White women go to college to find a husband. You know what I'm saying? So why would they vote against their own interests? They don't care about breaking the glass ceiling. They don't want to break the glass ceiling. That's not their issue. They thrive under white male patriarchy. That's their system. You know what I'm saying? They're not going to ever disrupt that because they want their daughters to thrive under that system. And they want their sons to inherit that system of white male dominance. So they'll never vote against it. So I just hope that this election ends that fantasy that there's any sort of intersectionality between white women and black women, because they're not. The interests are not the same. They're going to vote for that system under which they thrive.
So what about you? You have an opinion about the blame game?
I definitely have an opinion about the blame game. I think it's a waste of time, but let me preface my statement with this. I don't believe that this election, something seems funny about it to me. I don't know how all of those red states and, places like Hawaii and all the places that normally would, I mean, it would have been a little maybe closer, or I'm not saying that Trump would not have won. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is that there's just something to me that seems a little bit fishy. However, that doesn't make really a difference to me at all as well. And the reason that it doesn't is because this is probably the first time where we have the opportunity, we as Black folks have the opportunity to work on ourselves. And if we continue to play this blame game, was it the Latinos? Was it the white women? Was it the black males? I don't care about all of that. The only thing I care about is we see that overwhelmingly Trump was voted into office, and that our interests, when I say our, I'm talking about low income people, even if there's a middle class, the middle class people, and all of those people who are not million and billionaires, okay, are affected. And if they decided to vote for them, we as Black folks are on the outside. And us being on the outside, we need to figure we need to figure out how we are going to move forward. And for us to move forward, we need an economic base. They're talking about getting rid of education. Can you educate your own kids, or can we educate our kids? What's going to be the issue going forward? So, no, I'm not playing the blame game because it's a waste of time to be able to do so. All I want to hear about is what's going to be done. And if you're not talking about that, then I don't have ears to listen to what else you're talking about.
One of the things I'm hearing is one of the missteps, one of the major missteps the Democrats made, and that was not listening to the voices of Black people. First of all, the George Floyd anti-crime bill, that has never been signed. And of course, discussions about reparations, which was, pushed to the curb. And in California, they were going to give everybody like $25 each. So the seriousness of what was mattering to us was never really listened to.
But overwhelming majority have shown you they didn't care about you.
No. What I'm just saying is that the Democrats never went into those communities and talked to folks. The other issue was they didn't go out into the Black community and bring in the Black social media influencers to have discussions, especially those who have, close to, 500,000 to 1 million followers. In fact, if he was still alive, as much as I couldn't stand him, Kevin Samuels would have been an ideal person for the Democratic leadership to talk to as to understand what is it that Black men want.
But his followers wouldn't have been.
Well, maybe, I don't know.
So I want to touch on it. I want to touch on the manosphere.
When we come back.
When we come back.
Okay, so we're going to do
We're going to come back.
All right.
So we're going to come back.
We need to touch on Latinos. when we come back too.
Okay, so we got a couple of things to touch on.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
we'll see you in a moment.